do it. I didn't set the I didn't set the intro. We're live now. Guess what? I'm doing this live, guys. We're going to do it. I'm playing it now.
Do it live.
We'll do it live. It might not even do live if I'm doing it. Will it not do it? Did I set it up as back? That's what I did. I set it up as a background. I'm so dumb. I get like backgrounds all set up.
Here, we'll do it. Here, there you go.
And
Car's moving. There you go.
Are you telling me that I didn't actually load the startup for this? You know what? It has been a Monday in spades. I will tell you that right now.
It's a Monday thing. It's all right.
It is a Monday thing. And if I didn't actually set this up, here. All right. So it's going to upload, and I'm playing it.
Just play whenever. Yeah.
I did it for a long time, guys. Just everybody in chat, thank you very much as this processes and uploads here. We'll say hi to everybody. I'm playing this intro.
God, Rollkeeper's here. White Vegeta's here.
Heck yeah.
Menchaca's here. Eric Coleman's here. Jerk's here.
Mikey. Stu just popped his online cherry Saturday on Figure Fight Club.
Cool.
By the way,
once we start chatting, we can pop in on all the shows now.
All of them. Just do all of them. We got Menchaca. I feel like I should just say something especially. Robert, push the button. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Push the button, Max.
Late to his own stream. Yeah, I know. Okay. I learned it from you. I learned it from watching you, Papa.
Are you all right?
Nico. Let's see if it's loaded. It's loaded. All right. We're doing it again. We're gonna
I'll do the police squad freeze frame.
Yeah, we're gonna pretend that like this didn't happen, and then everything's fine. And okay. It's like there's no way I'm not doing that. It's almost like I was up till God knows how many hours of the night and morning and not sleeping and ugh.
I may be wearing red and white, but I am not a jinx.
No, this is all me. Yeah, this is all me.
I'm wearing the card that looks like your show, so people are going to think I'm wearing merch for you.
I don't have any merch yet. I need to work on that. I'm just gonna use my name. I should slap my name on a shirt. You want to walk around with my name, man?
Just do Zorro, just like Z.
Just do the Z. Good.
That's it.
No, I gotta do it. Laserpan said it. I mean, he's the one that created this monster, so I've got to have it like probably in all caps, right? Exclamation mark.
Exclamation point. Yeah.
Probably pay him royalties. Probably. I don't know.
I've started to brand, right? Like that I've started. All of a sudden, that's why I'm here. I got my YouTube now, which is
NowhereManChild. We got the official branding as you kind of segue into doing that. Now, people are going to be like NMC. They're like going to do abbreviations.
NMC, the new Mickey Mouse Club. That's two. No.
NMC.
MMC.
Easy as 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there's all kinds of good marketing that we can do with this.
It's fun, right? Like I came up with it, oh gosh, 15 years ago, a long time ago, right? And I put my Twitter handle. I was like, oh, okay, that sounds fun. That sounds like me. You know, it was a Beatles.
Oh, is that where it came from?
Yeah, I was like one of those things. I was like, I need a name that's not my name. And it became one of those things where you just go, that fits, that works. And then I realized it's always been mine. And now it's more mine than it used to be because I'm putting it on all my stuff.
Yeah, well, now you got your video out. You put a
video, one and rolling.
Short?
No, it's 3.5 minutes.
Oh, it's right. It's just over that mark.
Yeah, so it's a 3.5 minute video of me, just basically quick review of overview of the Transformers compendium that just came out, issues 1 through 46, plus the Headmasters miniseries. And I didn't go in on the Kickstarter, so I went on the Kickstarter of the hardbacks for like the GI Joe set before, but like Transformers I wasn't doing. But I thought, you know what, let me check this soft cover out, and I picked it up in the comic shop. I was like, sweet, okay, I have to have this. I forgot how much fun the early issues are. I know about the later issues, but the Marvel run, like, it's just a lot of fun. And I was like, oh, there's no reviews of this thing online yet either. I said, okay, well, if I'm going to roll out a video, let's roll out a fun video. And my video is basically take 2, because my first one was reviewing the book, and I realized I stumbled over my words, and it was not great. It didn't have the pieces that make it my style, the way the video online does now, or put the music in the background and added the sound wave and everything that's in the last 30 seconds to a minute.
Spoiler alert, but yeah, the measuring of the book with Soundwave, my favorite Transformer.
I knew that.
Yeah,
although that's not why he's there. He's there size wise, but yeah, no, I was like, I got to use a G1 that works. I said, here we go. But yeah, and there's a comedic Beta 3. I made sure I like, what's the Beta 3 in those? It's like boom, boom, boom. But it's also one of those things that's a treat to everybody that kind of like, we came for the thing, and then we realize, okay, we like what you're doing, as they walk out the door of the video, hopefully. Somebody shared it on Transformers site like Monday last week, because it spiked. All of a sudden, it went from like 200 views over the weekend to nearly 1,000 views.
Oh, wow, that's great, man, for your first video. Holy cow.
1,500 views. Yeah, which is swell, because like,
but I struggled with 100, so I'm like, yeah, he got somebody hit at 1,000. That's awesome, man. I
was glad too, and nothing negative came from it, right? Like, it's the internet, so you never know. But like the fact that I had the good comments on there, a lot of likes, and then good folks, like Jay Bartlett, Hans Chow, just a bunch of my
maybe this guy. Conley.
It's Chad. Yeah, a bunch of good support out there. So
it's Chad. But yeah, man, that's the whole thing. That's a good thing about our little community. So I use that word on purpose.
It's the fellowship of the dumb.
Yeah, fuck that word. I don't like that word. Ugh. I like it because I got I don't even know where that patch is. I've got it buried somewhere, man. I think when I moved, I put in a little keepsake one, because I found my Mython to Python sticker. I can't find my patch, and I know I've got it somewhere. It's probably with Chad's stickers, probably. I probably
pulled mine out. Actually, I had my stuff all together from DFW last year, so I said, "Whoa, let me get my patch out," and I realized I still had it.
Hell yeah! Never go full classified. I don't think I got that sticker. I got that sticker.
Ask him for it, I guess. If he's got extras, maybe he'll bring you some.
There's probably a new slew of stickers this year. It's probably a limited edition. I missed out.
That's the thing, right? And I was like, let me look at some of my cards and stuff. So yeah, cards on the table, right? Yeah. Hey, you and I are going to go be at DFW Joe show here.
Our 1 year anniversary. And by the way, I figured since Rollkeeper is driving a black Mustang currently, that he would like your shirt.
This shirt, so yeah, if it hadn't been seen, this is a Pete Yorn concert shirt. Day I Forgot. This is when the second record, Pete Yorn's, came out in 2003, and I saw this concert in Austin at Stubbs Barbecue, and they were out of large, and so I bought a medium, and luckily it actually fits still.
I had some really good beer at Austin, and the Flying Saucer, a little franchise down there.
They have one of those in downtown Fort Worth too. Flying Saucer.
Man, I love me drink at the Flying Saucer. They get one of those mystery flights. By the way, Dan, is this a 67? Is it a 68? Let's know.
Yeah, we want to know what year this car was. So Dan knows.
I guessed, Dan, is what I was guessing. like Mustang was one of the, I was looking at Camaros, Mustangs, and Challengers when I bought the new car. And I bought
Mustang was my first car, right? I got a 92 red
cool.
hatchback Mustang in the 90s. And boy, yeah, having a red car that was a Mustang, that was enough. Like, yeah, fantastic. And of course, you never see them anymore, right? No one's kept them up. Mine ended up in a car accident. Not my fault. But yeah, the sunlight was behind me. I was heading into to class in college, and he pulled out, and I rammed right in the side of him and spun around in the shoulder, luckily, but it crunched the front of that car and it killed it. And
they made those cars. I mean, I can't remember when they made they changed cars to, they're supposed to crumple. I mean, they're built to absorb damage and wrecks. Unlike, when I hit this little Mazda back with my 77 Monte Carlo, I can't remember the 70. No, it was 76. I spun them like a top, man, and messed up my front fender, my front left quarter, panel, but whatever. I was okay.
I got the airbag, he's like, okay, at least the airbag worked too. That was my hat, my sunglasses, everything was there. And I still remember the guy running over, and he clearly was saying to someone else, wow, did you see that? And the guy was like, yeah. And I thought, oh, we put on a show. Okay. Luckily I'm all right. And then the other guy was okay. But
yeah, Mikey's saying 65 or 66. And also Stu for lunch, Stu for $2, a couple of shekels for the Dolly Gang, Stu. I appreciate that, brother. Very cool. Let's get you a clip. Have I added any new clips? I don't think I've done anything for more super chats. You're gonna get the old Bubble Boy.
You want $500?
Yes, I would like $500.
You want $500?
Yes, I want $500.
Okay. Now anybody else? Now just read them. I think with super chats, that's the way to go, is just reading them. Or members, I've got.
It depends, right?
As a heads up, I got a lot of clips for members. I've added, well, I say a lot. I've added 2 more. I think I have. Let's see. I've got 4.
Does anybody use the RoboCop? I'd buy that for $1. Like, it's right there. Like, I keep thinking that is a short one if it's not
Jerks worked that into his videos, but not for the membership, not for the super chats. I think that's one of those things when you start doing clips on super chats, it just eats up so much time. So it's like save them for like the big ones, watch these streamers where it's like guys are dropping $99.99. I'm like, holy.
I've seen you drop a few bucks on a couple of these.
A birthday stream or something like that. Yeah, I dropped one, maybe. I think I've done that maybe Ninja's birthday probably, and I know I did for Jerk. I did one.
And these things roll around, right? Because you kind of go, okay, well, I'll donate to him, and he donates to that guy, and then everybody kind of supports one another.
I talked to Ninja about this. It's like, we're recycling YouTube wins because they're getting 30% of all of us, recycling this amongst each other, but it helps the algorithm.
Yeah.
So, whatever.
And it supports one another. Like, it's a community fellowship, whatever. You kind of go, look, we're in the hobby together. Like, everybody's kind of sharing and caring to a different degree every time, right? You say, oh, I haven't seen that show. Oh, check it out for this reason or this reason. Oh, why do you like that guy for this thing or this thing? And like, you can see the build with everybody doing that with the word of mouth somehow with Jerk in the last couple of weeks, just in the build of how it's gone over to go. Yeah, now 200 is the average number to get to 250 more average, and 300 is the pop. Like, you go, 300 is about to be the average next, right? It's just right there. And you say it's just that build because people found you, they care about you, they find that you have an intelligence of what to say, and they think you're cool enough to hang with for this long, however long, right? Like, you go, I pop in for 20 minutes, I'm there for an hour and a half, 2 hours, like however it is. They go, they bought you, they're buying into you. And the fact that people come in and care about any of us like that is great, because that gives us all that kind of boost to get through the rest of your life, right? And the rest of your days in between the hobby stuff.
Now, have you thought about doing any lives or no? Are you going to go produce content? Like, I know what the future plans were for the channel. Talk about that.
That could happen. Like, it's a kind of a consideration just to figure out, anybody who can see this room back here, right? Like, there's an eclecticism of like what we all love. So, well, how much stuff do you like that is shareable that someone else hasn't done, or what do you want to do to make your own voice heard? Where is your unique spin on something that you want to be able to bring your style to something that someone else can care and have, to spend time with? And, it's one of those things. It's like Jerry Seinfeld's mom was like, how could anyone not like you? And you say, someone somewhere doesn't care. And so you find the ones who do like you, you know, and cultivate those people and say, well, so depending, you know, if it's going to be, you know, about Star Wars, if it's about G.I. Joe, if it's about Gem, if it's about, you know, the Question, DC Question, like whatever it is. I got records. That's a whole wall of records for anybody who don't know. Like, you know, I'm also a record guy, so I got records, comic books, DVDs, the DVD.
Man, Scott Hughes loves vinyl. I love talking to Scott Hughes about vinyl.
It's Mikey too. Mikey and I've chatted.
No, Mikey loves vinyl. Scott does not love vinyl.
This is the collection, right? Where someone said, well, "How did you get that many?" I said, "I'm 45 years old."
Yeah, man. That's where the collection kind of like I get surprised. Real quick though, Facebook, I've been linking it. We got Jeremy showing up, Loose but Complete veteran with laser pants on the Facebook. Man, that's awesome.
I almost didn't recognize his name.
I know, right?
Jeremiah.
Wait, Master Son logged in from Facebook. I was like, why are you using your real name? That's from Facebook.
That's different. Yeah.
I know. I probably should make a business account on Facebook, but
yeah, my dog's asking it.
I heard that. It's like, Dad.
No, the door's open. She don't want to come in.
Oh, she's like, no.
Yeah.
Just wants attention.
She loves me, right? There's no love like your dog or your mother. Like, so
unconditional love.
You know, hey,
you were not wrong.
I'm married too, but like my wife understands.
Again,
my wife doesn't
I love
come
my
sit
wife.
with me
Bingo
when I'm in
card.
the bathroom, right? Like, you know, the dog's love is different.
No,
Yeah,
100%, 100% on that.
Oh man.
So wait, let's talk about DFW coming up here.
Let's do.
So what are you now? You moved. There was, in fact, I think Chad's shared stories about that. Like, you know, kids coming up, and you're like, "Hey, this is my childhood GI Joe toy. You know what? I'll make you a deal. I know you're gonna play with it. Have fun."
That's the thing. I worried that it was like the adult using the kid to say, "Well, do you think it was that guy?" And
I never even thought about that.
You know, it's like because the kid was doing almost all the talking. The guy would be like, "Okay," and I thought, you know, because that's the negative, you know, that thought. And he's like, I just want to go to the kid, right? Because to some degree, you can't do that for everybody. And there are some people that, like, there was one guy who needed to make a payment last year. And I said, well, this or cash. And he couldn't do this or cash. And I said, I don't know. But he wanted to get my 92 headquarters that I sold for his kid. It took 30 minutes because of it. He tried to get this app on. I tried to get this thing on. I couldn't get the signal, whatever it is. And the kid's like playing with it. And I'm showing him. And the kid's like probably 12 years old. Like, so he's smart enough to see this and that. And I could show him some things, the operability of it. But then eventually the dad left and the kid left because he said, I'm going to the ATM. And I said, okay. And I suggested that like 20 something minutes before.
ATM.
And he came back with the cash. This was on Sunday of the show. And he came back with cash for the headquarters, and it was the 92 headquarters. And I rarely do like purchase photos, like, you know, because I got shops I follow on Instagram and stuff to do the purchase photos. But I realized I was like, can I take a picture of you guys with that? And they said, yeah. And of course, you know, it's not shared anywhere. It's just for me because it's one of those things you go, that kid was all into that. And that dad definitely wanted to get that for that kid. Different than the first experience that has been shared where it's like, yeah, it was a Tiger Force Tiger Rat. And I went down on my price by more than I would have normally, and more than I did for anything else the rest of the weekend. But there was a consideration given. And I think that is per customer. That is per person. You say, what is the experience of the, because there are people like, oh, the Badger. I just customized mine and gave it to that guy. And so Chad bought my Badger because he customized his to gift to someone else. And I sold it to him for a discounted price that I might not have otherwise, right? And it's not a lot because it was not a big item to begin with, but it's per person, right? Like he was buying a few of the Street Fighter 2 figures I had carded. So all Street Fighter 2 G.I. Joe figures I had all. Like,
I remember that, man, because you had like the ones that I want, I've got. Right,
I didn't have any of them loose. I've had to go buy them loose because I was like, I don't have that one. I don't have any of them. But it was that feeling of, okay, he's gonna get them for Jay Bartlett, who's in Canada. Yep. And I was like, okay, well, let's do the Jay price and the Chad price. And then like there was another guy who bought the rest of them, and I didn't have to go down much at all. But in the sense of just kind of areas, he said he gave it to
Marathon. Yep.
Just the rest of those figures, like I knew they were going to a collector, and that was okay, even if he made more money on them, like the other guy, not Chad and Jay.
Yeah.
It's just about they're going to collectors directly from me, and so you can look in people's eyes and see if they're full of it, right? And there's an element of kind of going, okay, I have a story behind this thing if they're willing to hear it, or I have a sale and I can have fun with it. And I'm not a salesman, right? I did copy sales, 15 years ago for like a year, but that got me out of one job into the next one. And before I moved up to Chicago, I moved to Chicago in 2007, and then got with my now wife in 2009. And I've been working and living up here right since then. This is home. But like when I go to Texas, that's where I was born. That's where I was, raised in elementary school, graduated high school, graduated college, in my first years in my 20s. Like, so when I come down to Texas, I try to see people, but going to DFW, I was like, man, this show was created once I moved up here. And I finally got to go a couple years ago, and realized last year, I was like, yeah, I want to be a vendor. I want to let some of my stuff go that can go to people who I know will care about the stuff. I made 2 battle wagons last year.
Yeah.
They were mine and my brother's. And my mom had painted on the missiles, like these, she did gold paint on these, and these, she did like a gold ring around these. So when we would play, those are my brother's missiles, those are my missiles.
Oh, that's funny.
And I explained it to the guy who was buying both of them. I said, these are why these paints look this way. And, each of the battle wagons had like an issue. This one might have had a battery issue. This one had a broken piece. But one guy bought both of them. And it's just kind of cool because, like, oh, they're the twins, right? The twin things that lived with you from you and your brother. And now they're with that guy for however long. But I think it's cool because Toy Story is the thing that really in the last 30 years has informed us, like, toys got a story, like where, shoes got a story. You go, wow, look at those shoes. I wonder how they got on that power line. How did they get these scars?
Yeah, right. How did that happen?
Yeah. But yeah, I try to, you kind of go, okay, where do I share the story? Because I'm still buying stuff. I'm still doing stuff and wanting to build my collection, right? Like I was cultivating, like I didn't have space for this when I moved to Chicago in 2007 because I lived with 2 roommates in a 3-bedroom. Yep. This is the 3rd bedroom where I live with my wife and my little dog. And so like being able to have this space, I said, okay, as long as I'm not filling up the rest of the place, then it's okay.
You got your collection, like this is it. This is,
Mm-hmm. I mean, DVDs are
regulating, right?
You have to, right? It's like when I would have Pringles and someone would say, how do you sit there and just eat the whole can, or not just eat the whole can at lunch? I said, because you regulate, right? Because you
self-control.
I
say that, except if it's iced animal cookies, I will eat the entire bag and get sick every time. Yeah. I know I'm going to. I still do it.
That's the trick. There's certain ones I just go, well, do I want some of it later? And I think that's true with budgets or anything. You just say how much you can enjoy later. And as a kid, right, you say, oh, I can't wait till Christmas. I can't wait till this time. And you look and go, wow, that Christmas was 35 years ago. And look how fast the years have gone. And so I don't wish anything away anymore like that to that degree. As a kid, it's different. But as an adult, all of a sudden it's summertime. And it'll be the fall here in a minute. And it'll be 2026 in another minute. And you say, well, let's just embrace it. I think it was
probably in my 30s where I noticed just felt like time just kept ramping up. And it's like,
absolutely
go. And I don't know, maybe that's because the information age, I know you and I've talked about it with like celebrity deaths is like, it's like, is this unusual or is it just that we're getting information like this? And you're like, it seems like we're just more information and hyper focused on that kind of thing.
It's that too. I think that there's a lot of that where anybody and everybody can have a voice, but also you're getting the information immediately. So like if you hear it from somebody, then you know the information. But if you never heard it from somebody who's into that stuff or follows that, then you don't get it. Like, so today, Sly Stone of Sly and the Family Stone passed away. He was 82. And so that's celebrity death news today. And of course, he's been, famously reclusive. So it's kind of like when Johnny Carson died after he'd been retired. He's not actively engaged the same way, but he would turn up a little bit in the last like 20 years. Like once in a while you go, wow, there he is. There's the guy who did these things way back when that impacted how many people then.
Oh yeah, man.
And so it's different when they, you feel somebody who's actively engaged and now they're gone. And then someone else who has been out of the picture and they're gone. But also too, yeah, if you miss the news, you miss the news. But I think there's so much that we share now to the degree that you have to step back if it's something negative and you want to step into stuff that is positive.
Yeah.
And so I think one thing that these channels that we all do and do is cultivate the positivity because we all want it. We all need it. Doesn't matter what we believe, where we go, where we live. we tap into something that's not just, well, it's nostalgia because I liked it 40 years ago. So I liked it when I was this age. No, you like it now. And you're allowed to like it now without it being guilty pleasure. There's a feeling of going, I don't have to like the new thing just because it's new, but I do like getting stuff new. It scratches an itch. But I get the same thing with vintage often. Like I get the same thing with that thing I didn't know that existed and it discovered. Like, so I got this like Destro recently. Like I didn't have this guy, right? He's got the cloth goods cape on it, right? And he's the comic book colors because he's got the gray instead of the black. But he's got a shooter here, and he's got this great pirate looking sword.
Okay,
but I didn't have
cutlass, man.
The cutlass, yeah, and it's just fantastic. And this is the one that they're saving for classified, that they want to release this with a spoiler the same way they did Serpentor and his air chariot. That's what they're doing because they have to have something else in the bank that people want.
Again, I'm going to stop you. And people, we keep making this mistake. You're trying to apply logic and reason to the corporate hydra.
Yeah.
Because this makes sense.
Right.
There's a whole suite of things that would make sense that they're still not doing.
That's why they hold all the original OG 13 Joes that they haven't released yet.
Maybe that's why they're doing it.
That's exactly why they're doing it. It's not like an issue. We can't call him Flash. Yeah, you called him, Anthony Gambello on a release 20 years ago. You can do that again. The reason they're not is because they know the people who buy the OG 13, who buy all the 1985 and 84 and 83 figures, they're going to be out at a certain point. And instead, you string them on. You say, well, maybe you didn't like Slice and Dice before, but you will now. And guess what? We also have Colonel Hawk. Right.
Here's the fallacy, though, Joe. When you think about this, the people want the original 13, right? They're like this again. I've heard this argument. They're like, well, because you string them along. Who says that person wants anything other than that original 13 is my question. Because I know a lot of guys that don't. They're not buying anything but the original 13. So all these other offerings are for people like me, where I'm like, hey, that's a cool figure. I'll pick it up, even though I don't have nostalgia for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that's why they're doing it.
Look at Repeater, for example. Okay, Repeater would have come in the point where people grew out of Joe and other people who weren't born into Joe. Like Repeater was not in Sunbow cartoons.
Although you say Repeater, I have no idea who Repeater is.
So Repeater came out in 1988, and then he got a Night Force figure the next year. But Repeater is the guy who has a Steadicam that attaches to his belt, and it was inspired directly by Drake and Vasquez from Aliens. The creators have said, we were very influenced by Aliens. That's why Dodger from the Battle Force 2000 looks like Hicks. Like those things came immediately following those. But Repeater is that guy that, like, if they do the right figure, that is the thing that JMK Custom Works can customize, right? Like all these people can go, okay, great. We're gonna love this figure and give it so much more view than just the one character. But also it's a character where they go, wow, I didn't realize how cool that era of G.I. Joe could be. Because some people like Shockwave, some people like Hit and Run. And you look and go, they didn't have Sunbow representation, and they weren't tainted by the Deke representation that hurt some people, like Ambush, who was a great figure who had a great loadout of accessories back in 1991 or 1990. And people think of one thing, right? The one thing can influence them. You're like, I don't know. Modern is still the same way, where you say one thing can make an influence in one direction or another. And I think a positive figure can go, wow, yeah, I always like Big Trouble in Little China. So they like the hat that they gave Dice on the Slice and Dice figure.
Amigasa, the conical straw hat. Heck yeah.
And I know that you're a fan of old Jack Burton.
Little bit.
Slightly. A little bit. Yeah.
And that's just it with the OG 13 that they haven't made, or the ones that I don't like. So like Hit and Run, Repeater that you're named off, Shockwave. I picked up Shockwave. I thought it was a cool character.
Yeah, and his Night Force.
I don't know anything about them other than the classified. So I picked them up. No nostalgia. I'm like, cool. Let me get that.
So their appearances in the comic books are really good too. Like so because they were fresh at that time. The comic book, a lot of people, there's people who want realism in it. They don't like some of the future forward things like Battle Force 2000 or like some of the things from the 90s could be. But there's stories that were made in the late 80s, right, with Special Missions comic books. And so you get this really great story with Shockwave being a SWAT trooper, right, on this thing where Chuckles and Lady J are outside the house, and Shockwave and Hit and Run are going to be the guys that go into it, and they got to figure out how to get to these people. And that comic book that I'm talking about is issue, I think, 22 issue. It's Special Missions issue 22, and it's got a twist that, like, if you don't know the twist in the story, right, make sure you're reading from page 1. Don't flip to the back just to look at it, digitally or otherwise. But it's a fantastic like representation for Shockwave in particular, and he's on the cover. But it's also a good like compact story, and you know, it sold the character as much as anything else because the figure looked good and it told a story that you weren't going to see on a cartoon or anything else. And that, you know, we talked before about what's missing. You know, they said, well, there's no cartoon. Would they make a cartoon now that actually be for adults for G.I. Joe, or would they?
I mean, that movie. What was the movie? Was it Retaliation?
Retaliation, the second one. It was Rise of Cobra, the Retaliation, and then they
whatever when Major Blood bit it in the opening sequence.
Was
that Resolute?
Resolute. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I can't keep them straight. I can tell you right now. It's like, holy, give me more of this. This is
I'm
awesome.
Surprised they didn't. Yeah. I'm surprised that that's 70 minutes and out. Yeah. Based on the effect that it had on the fandom and the way that it continued to like
Resolute
be loved. Like even years later, right? You can see it and go, okay, they could still market that now just using classified designs, the same way that some of the Skybound comic books, you know, will use classified designs before the figure release or afterwards. But Chad and different people have talked about it, right? It's about when our generation and everybody now who's 30 to 55 generally, when they grow out of caring about this stuff, the 20 years from now, the folks behind us won't care.
Oh yeah.
Nephew,
I mean, this
right,
is we're on a timetable.
Doesn't see it, doesn't know about it, doesn't care. He cares when he's over here because it's my stuff. But if he doesn't have his own thing, you know, and so like he likes Harry Potter because it's modern, it's made for his generation. You know, that's why Minecraft could make $1 billion because so many kids have been hooked into it for so long.
That drives me nuts, man. Like you play Minecraft? All my buddies, you play Minecraft? I'm like, no. Well, why not? I spent my entire lifetime getting away from those graphics. Yeah. I'm good.
Yeah.
But man, I can't argue with them. I mean, millions and millions of, or are we at billions of dollars? Like where are we at now with Minecraft? I mean, holy cow. I mean, he was doing something right.
Yeah. That's the thing. I think that what taps into who, right? Like there's people who get upset at Star Wars because they say, oh, I can't believe you're going in that direction or talking about this. And like, well, it's made for those people. They're trying to market to those people, whether it hooks into them or not. The attempt was to market to those people. And if it's not to you, then they say, well, you have yours. We're not taking yours away.
Yeah.
We're not going to let George Lucas, you know, do it. Like, you know, E.T., they tinker with E.T. when the DVD came out, and Spielberg came out later and says, I regret that. Because he took like the pistols and things out of the guards in the FBI, the agents that were coming after E.T., like when they take off, you know, the bikes, the cars. And they put walkie-talkies in their hands digitally. And like Spielberg has said since then, he said, no, when something's created, that's how it exists. That's what it is. I shouldn't have done that. And he was, you know, he was in the mode where he said, well, George Lucas did this, and maybe I can do that. But now as a filmmaker,
thank you. Because I was about to go on a whole tirade about everyone's like, George Lucas is going to get it back. He's going to get the Star Wars license back. Listen, I saw what he did when he went in with his special edition. Han shot first and all the special effects that he put in. Yeah. There's a reason you want a good editor, okay? Because sometimes creators need someone in the editing going, yeah, you know, maybe you don't do that.
And
then after years and years, you change, and you can't take that movie and change it.
I agree. Like, I think that there's always that feeling of the grass is always greener, right? And the people who don't remember, also nostalgia is rose-colored glasses. You know, the rear view is smaller than the view ahead. I think all those things are true. And it just depends on how you're able to view it and kind of go, okay, this is also my perspective. How much of that is agreed upon by the people? How much of that is shaped by other people? How much of that can I not change? How much of that am I just going to be in a snit about and just like have to deal with it and realize it'll be okay? Like, you know, like the next thing will come around, you know, like all of a sudden it's been 10 years since Hamilton, right? Hamilton was the big new thing. And now it's been 10 years since then. And they had this awesome, like 4.5 minute production piece on the Tonys last night, which was, you know, a collection of hits, whereas like Lin-Manuel's on here and then the sisters are on here and then Lafayette's on here and these people, and you just realize, wow, that's already been 10 years. And they roll out this little greatest hits package, and you remember just how good it was and how good the OGs of that are and how much the rest around it, and no offense to the other nominated shows, but how much they live in the shadow of that in the last 10 years and will continue to until something else that is producers big and Hamilton.
Oh yeah, because what Les Miserables and then like Cats. I mean,
all the classics are classic for the reason, right? And
yeah,
Hamilton
there's a reason
right
they've been on there.
And the fact that it brings in new eyes, right? Like, to go on a tangent about that, right? Like, something will bring in new eyes and go, well, the people get into stage or they get into live theater. And if it's Lin-Manuel Miranda who did that, then bless him, because he will continue to get the door open for all these other projects, not just somebody who wants to do Hamilton 2 or the prequel to Hamilton. Like, give me a break. Like, you know, theater doesn't do that the same way. And people also don't get upset at theater. Like, can you believe that? They did Cat on Hot Tin Roof again. The original was great.
Yeah.
Dude, you didn't see the original. The original came out in the 50s. I saw the Elizabeth Taylor movie. I said, yeah, but the original was on stage.
Sweeney Todd.
Continue to do these things over and over again, and it never takes away from the one you love the most or the one that reached someone else the most. Like, theater.
We can talk about like with Turtles too. Like, again, my Turtles were the comic books, man. I love those Turtles. And so all my buddies, that were like, 10 years younger than me, my brother was 5 years younger than me, it was a cartoon. They love that, which I'm like, that's an abomination. But I get why you love that. I mean, it's a totally different thing, and that's their thing, and they love it.
It was marketed for children directly, and they said, well, we can't have 4 turtles have 4 red colors. This one's red.
That was the least of it, Jeff. It was all the murdering that they did.
Oh,
they were ninjas. They executed bitches. It was cool.
Yeah. I had a friend who had all the newly, I say newly, like 10 years ago, they newly released so many of the books, and it was like these thick tomes. They were huge coffee table size ones, and he had like at least 4 of them. And it was cool to flip through them to see, the black and white and stuff. And he's like, "Oh yeah, no, this is where this person gets killed." I'm like,
oh man, it was so good, so violent. Because I mean, they were big Daredevil fans, so it was like Hell's Kitchen, but it was again the foot, the hand. There was all these things that they had tied in, and it made sense, and it was fun, good, violent fun.
How much that the Ninja Turtles themselves, right? So if they are doing a spin-off idea basically of their own, that's not a spin-off, but like I said, we're basing something off our love of Daredevil, and we're going to put it into this for fun. And then that thing for fun, it's like the producers, right? Oh, we didn't expect this to really get this massive, and it did. And then you have these things like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. That's a 4 title thing that, like, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, like, all of a sudden you have the next thing that is somehow influenced by that last thing, which was influenced by the thing, right? And you look at where the roots of the tree started and you go, wow, that's not the fruit that's being grown now. But you say, well, so people like that one. That's great.
Well, yeah, because I always get this number wrong. Like, how many stories are there? It's like 13 or something like that.
Stories of the original Ninja Turtles?
No, like stories, period, to, the 7 basic plots, 7 basic plots, right? Yeah. So it's just us spinning those 7 basic plot, tragedy, comedy, romance, and telling it in a different way, the hero's journey, etc. So there's nothing new under the sun, except it's how you tell it.
It's how it's told. It's what character gets the perspective, right? And Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead is one of the great examples of that. Because if you're looking at those core stories, you go, oh, Shakespeare told them all. Plus, he told them all plus these different ways. But then somebody eventually, Tom Stoppard, like, can say, well, let's do this from the perspective of these 2 minor characters from Hamlet. And all of a sudden you go, boom, great, that's it. And that's what George Lucas started out Star Wars with. Like, it's 3PO and R2-D2, which are your way in to Darth Vader and Luke and Leia and everybody. And they're the
his Akira or his Kurosawa influences. You could see that heavily,
the more you look at those clips, you say, oh, this is from Hidden Fortress, or they go, okay,
Hidden Fortress,
100% bombers run, and you can see the bombers run that you want to do in Star Wars. Like, the people who get influenced by Star Wars need to remember they're influenced by history and filmmakers. And so I think broadening the spectrum of, say, because my brother used to say that even like 20 years ago, I'd buy a CD and he said, why do you like this? Where'd this come from? This is cool. I said, oh, I read this little thing in the magazine. And then, Borders or whoever would have this one to listen to. And I go, oh, yep, that sounds like I thought I did. It's right. It's cool. And now, of course, we can listen so much easier online, read so much more. But even 20 years ago, I kind of had to trust myself. I go, oh, it says this is like the Talking Heads. And I liked enough of their stuff at the time. I didn't have any of the records at that time. I said, oh, if it's like that, I'm going to dig it. And I did, right? Like there's different things that you just have to trust yourself and your perspective. And also like, are you getting something because it's hip and new, because it's cool? Are you scratching an itch because I had to go home with something today? Or are you like saying, you know, I'm feeding part of my own personality and the way that I can share with others. The reason you get the stuff is to satisfy yourself, but then also to be able to communicate and to share with other people.
Otherwise, in history too, like you're talking about, like from Star Wars, it segued where, hey, have you ever seen the Hidden Fortress? Like Hidden Fortress, or then watching Magnificent Seven for the first time, Yul Brynner, right?
Yeah.
And then going, you know, that's based off of Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai, right? I'm like, wait, is it? And then I watched Seven Samurai and go, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And it's just, hearing, well, Last Man Standing, Bruce Willis ended up being Yojimbo.
It's Yojimbo. Mm-hmm.
Which is another fantastic movie. And they're watch both, and you're not going to, there's no spoilers for either one. I mean, there's a basic plot, but they're told completely differently.
Eli Wallach, when he was offered like the villain in Magnificent Seven, he said, no, I can't take that. That's a tiny part. And then he's like, well, wait a minute. The whole movie, they're talking about me. They're getting ready for me. They're planning for me. He's like, that's a star part. And he took the villain in that because he was thinking of the Kurosawa movie differently than what the movie could be that he's about to be in. It's like that's one of the things that you and I talked about when we connected at Joe Fest, right? Like
DFW.
Noir.
I still haven't done Joe Fest yet.
Did I say that? I'm sorry. DFW Joe.
Well, again, you know, initially I thought they were the same show last year. And then when people, again, I was on its chat and I'm sitting there listening in the chat. And I'm like, hey, you guys are sure talking about like these are two different shows. And they're like, oh, they are.
They are.
Well, crap, because I bought my tickets last night to DFW. And they're like, oh, you're good. I'm like, oh, cool.
This year, at least, they're at two different weekends. So like people can attend both that are able to attend both in that sense. I can't go to Georgia, but like in the sense that people who can and then will still come to Dallas, I think it was awesome because I don't think there's reason to like say, oh, this over the other one. Dude, it's just about what's local and it's about where you can go, where your money allows, and what do you have more interest in to say, I'm going to this for this reason or this for this reason. Anybody who never met Sergeant Slaughter, they go, I can only go to one of these two. They're going to lean to Joe Fest because he's there, or Hama's there this year and he's not at DFW, right? And you say, well, but if I want to meet the designers or I want to go over here and Daryl the Priest might be there, like there's different people, different experiences that you can tap into that will feed you for the next year and go, maybe next year I'll be at the other one.
Also, whatever. I mean, for me, it gets to be my first anniversary for DFW. My first tour.
I'm glad you're
going to conventions before, but not like a toy-centric show like that.
I dig it for that reason. I love that Joe is enough popularity, right? And like, there's most of us at a certain age. This is why, like, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and beyond, like, it can all coexist in one place and still, have fans of all intermingling, and also still like. That's one thing they do with Classified. They're trying to say, oh, well, here's this one from, this design from the 70s, and now it's in this style that we're making in 2025. You want them to succeed because one can feed the other one. So like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, I didn't realize that. There's going to be people who are 20, 25 years old, right? And go, oh, I want to learn about the action team, right? Okay, great. I think it's just about broadening your horizons and keeping your mind open, and also realizing that like G.I. Joe's not a war brand. That's one thing Mark Webber would say. Like, it's about the characters. It's about the heroism. It's about the interactivity of the people. And
almost like good versus evil. But if you want to get into the grays, great. Yeah. And then, hey, guess what? Check out this comic or check out this comic.
This is one of the great characters that exists in the grays, right? Destro, because you're always the villain. Like, he's an arms dealer. He might not work for the bad guy the whole time. He actually has honor. He actually has a deeper storyline, from day one. Like, he was one of those characters that you said, oh, he will live in the gray. October Guard, they can live in the gray zone, and they can have fans on either side.
And I think Destro's not gray. You're crazy. He's villain. He's black. He's black all the way, Jeff. But here, it's 6:45.
The time, I know.
But let's do this. I'll go a little bit overtime here. You want to show some stuff off that you want to?
Yeah, I'll show one or two.
Sell at DFW here.
So I'm this one real quick is not for sale. This is just me flexing. So this is
Footloose.
This is just me go flex. That's
Dusty. There we go.
So I got it signed by Ron Rudat. Yep. And so I got this figure like back during the pandemic when I got lucky on a great auction, but signed by Ron Rudat, who is the namesake, like Dusty's last name is Rudat backwards. This is one that actually is for sale. So I bought this one back.
What is that?
This is Carcass. Is one of the 3 aliens that they made that were against the Star Brigade in the last run of Joe's. These are the last like 6 figures that they made carded. Effects, Countdown, and Ozone. That Countdown and Ozone, they're rare and harder to get because even as a card collector, I can't get those cards. They're hard to get. But
yeah,
those 3 aliens though were the the new spin. Like this was early 90s, right? And they were having to compete to some degree with make it brightly colored and also have it compete with Star Wars, which was coming back to pegs, right? So but that is Carcass.
Was that mid 90s?
It's 94, the last year of the 82 to 94. And then this one here, this is Arctic Bat, which was made for classified. I was under the impression that I was going to army build different characters, and like I opened one, I was like, I've had this one, sealed for about 2 years, however long I've had it.
If you're gonna do a winter scene, you got to commit some space, to doing a winter scene. And they're a really cool figure, though.
This is one of those that's somebody's going to really love getting, and so I'm going to get it for him, get it to sell. Here's something I'm actually going to get signed for me. So this is a card that is Major Storm, who came with the General, and this is actually an Italian card, and his file name is Robert Swanson, and Bob Swanson, who worked with Hasbro Marketing, is going to be there. It's his first ever G.I. Joe convention, and
get him to sign it.
I'm going to get him to sign this one. Yeah, it's blank on the back. This one, and probably the regular English release as well. But yeah, I was like, I want to get that because last year I got to see Kirk Bazigian, right? And I got him to sign some law cards that I got. I'm a collector of these things, and Kirk was amazing. He's awesome. He's so cool. And
by the way, this right here, Tristan, there are people that are still waiting for their Arctic Bats.
Man, Tristan, if I could help you out, I would, dude.
It's so crazy. Like, what? I've got 2 of them. I can't remember if I got them from Pulse or Big Bad. I think it was Pulse at the time. That is crazy.
That's
oh yeah.
So this did last year. Zakainen's actually on here. Where are you? Right here. You're right here. But
heck yeah, buddy.
Not another retro channel. Ninja's down there in the corner. Suka, Chad, and the Ma'am.
Oh yeah, Chad had the that poster that we all signed too. I forgot about that.
I was getting as many folks as I could here. Master Son's on there, but yeah, this was one of those things. This is a book that I got Joy JoeCon, right?
Yeah.
And I said, okay, let's take this and get it. I got Bobby Valla, Ace Allgood. Like it was cool to be able to meet different folks in different parts of the fandom, and also then meet friends and brand new people like you. That all of a sudden you go, yeah, we connect on this stuff, and it's cool, and we'll continue to, and it's fun.
I think, you and I talked about like everything but G.I. Joe when we met at DFW.
Pretty much.
But that's what I liked. I like being able to do that.
That's how we connected, right? Like an hour and a half later, you go, okay, this guy can change.
Oh, this guy cutting and riding the wire here. Plablito for $4.99. Some money for the flex. There you go. Probably his flex, really, though. He had some good Joe flex in there. I got to get out of here so we can do Mega Powers tonight. I'm on there with Mikey Jerkin Gaines tonight.
You do. Here's one last thing I got for you. So if anybody who has the Art of G.I. Joe book opens the front and they see the pictures of the kids opening their G.I. Joes, that's me and my little brother. And that's me and my brother a year and a half ago. There's our shirts. I submitted this pic to Carson because I said, well, I don't have pictures of us opening our Joes, but I got pictures of us in the shirts. And I'm going to get to meet Carson face to face for the first time. But it was really cool tonight. Now go, I'm in the Art of Joe book.
That is cool.
Pretty cool. So.
Everybody, I've got his links. Go check him out.
Please, Instagram, or you can also follow me on the YouTube, which is going to be coming out more videos, more shorts, more stuff. But Instagram, chat with me. Say hey if you want to chat fun stuff. At NowhereManChild. That's me.
Heck yeah. And then we're doing the outro and then bouncing, no backstage, no nothing, Mr. Butler.
You gotta go. Join me. Go. I'll pop in chat over there.
Yeah, everybody pop over to Mega Powers. Go check that out tonight. Jeff, thank you, brother. It's always a pleasure. I love talking to you. I can't wait to see you and hang out with you again this year.
We'll do it, and we'll do this tomorrow. We'll figure it out wherever. We'll do some more of this.
Figure it out. 9:00. Thursdays.
9
after
o'clock
Thunder. He said the thing. He said the name of the show.
Also,
All right,
What's
go.
on Joe Mind, which is on Wednesday nights.
Oh, there we go. Okay, one last plug.
Plug the damn show.
Yeah, I can't remember. I probably got other shows coming up. I'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
All right. See you.